It means democratic government is very successful government, and there is no doubt at all. If we compare to other non-democratic countries, they are well developed than democratic countries. But even though maximum number of countries are following democratic form of government. Now, what is federalism? Before going to discuss about federalism, I want to give you a brief explanation about the main key features of Indian democracy. So, Indian democracy, as you know that SQDR. What is meant by SSSDR? So, India is a sovereign country. India is a secular country, and India is socialist country. India is a democratic country, and India is a republic country. So these are the main key features of our Indian democracy. It is a sovereign country. We have a lot of powers to take any decisions, internally or externally. Which means there is no other power or other country has no power to interfere in the matter of India. And second one, India is a secular country. Already you know that what is meant by secularism. So in India, anyone can follows the religion which they like. So they can protest any religion or propagate, or they can change their religion. No other power, third power can interfere in the matter of religions. Next one, India is a socialist nation. So where the nation's income distributed equally between the nation's people, and it is a democratic form of government. What is meant by democracy? So democratic form of government is formed by people's representatives through the elections. And India is a republic country. India is the head of the government is Prime Minister, as well as the head of the nation, President. So what we call as a republic country. Now, what about federalism? What is the importance of federalism? So the meaning of federalism here, nothing but power distributed between different levels of government. Different levels of government we call as federalism. So what are the different levels here? First of all, the first level, union or central government, and the second level government, it is nothing but our state government, state level. Between two levels, central level and state level. Now, three-tier government, that is our nothing but local self-government. So these are the three levels of governments where the power distributed equally between the governments, what we call as federalism. But whatever the powers given to state level or local self-government, but the final decision holding power only by central government. Now, so the first apex level government is our central government, and the second level state government. So maximum powers distributed between central level and state level. These are the main key roles in our governance. So as you know that central level government is headed by Prime Minister. central government has its own powers as well as state government has its own jurisdiction powers, but there is no power to central government to do something. There is no power to central government to order state government you have to do. No. So each level governments they have their own powers, but some subjects is categorized between central level and state level. So whatever the government, it must have to follow the guidelines given by the Constitution of India, and there is no other power or other person, individual or organization has its own powers to implement. So the one and only lawmaking body is Parliament. The Parliament have the right to make any new laws regarding to the nation. For example, so when we take the present concurrent examples like the pandemic of COVID-19, so different changes are going on in our nation as well as state level. So our Prime Minister means our central government decided to implement nationwide lockdown. Stage 1 a few days, stage 2 few days, and stage 3 few days. But each and every state government must have to follow the orders of the central government, isn't it? Yes, definitely we must have to follow. At the same time, central government giving some loopholes to the state government. Any green zone or like orange zone, we have to start some facilities is given by our central government. According to the instructions of the central government, our state government have to work smoothly. There is no state government has the power to say no for the orders of the central level government or our Prime Minister, because our central government is apex level union government which is implemented for entire nation's people, as well as state level governments only for state level, not for entire nation, and its local bodies also work under the guidelines of the state level governments. Central level government and state level government, which parts comes under central government and which parts comes under state government? For that, our government is following two types of list. What is the first one is union list, and the second one is state-wise list. Union list and state list. Which organs or which works and services comes under union list? Which services comes under state list? For example, in this crucial situation, our central government, to control the coronavirus, they decided to stop all railway lines, railway zones, or no trains are moving now, because railways is under the control of the central government. Now we come to the state list. State government also decided that don't run any transportation to the red zone or to stop the restaurants or any shopping malls or whatever, that is under the control of the state list. And financially, our entire nation present under the low budget. There is no revenue activities are going on. So there is no money with government. So what is the fund to run the government? Now our central government giving 1000 rupees or 500 rupees freely distributed to the people for their regular livelihoods, as well as they offer extra 5 kgs of rice to the poor people, and there are some different organizations they are donating state based. So the apex level government is our central government. Our state level government also must obey the guidelines of the central level government, which means holding together. Here we observe the form of the government, that is what we call as holding together. Central level, state level and local level. 3 levels are there, but these all 3 level governments hold by central level government. That is what we call as federalism. Students, now you easily understand that federalism means which is nothing but the power distributed between the different levels, central level, state level as well as the local bodies, but the ultimate power is under the control of the central level government, what we call as federalism. Understood, students, carefully? Now, and just now I clearly explained about what is meant by federalism, how the powers distributed between different levels of government. Now, I am going to discuss with you a few key points about the federalism. So, what is the importance of the federalism? Why India adopted federalism? So, as you know, our drafting committee chairman, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So, under the guidelines of many lessons, nearly 300 people worked together to frame guidelines to our governments, Indian government. Is it right? Now, so these many people work for our constitution and they prepare for a longest written constitution for India, and it is largest constitution also with a lot of articles. Now, so what is the importance of the federalism? Definitely we need to know the key points of federalism. So the first key point of the federalism is there are 2 or more levels of government. Already we discussed 2 or more level. What is first level? Central level. What is second level? State level. And what is third level? Local level. So here 3-tier government. How many? 3-tier government. That is our first key feature of federalism. In this federalism, 2 or more levels of governments are included. And second one, different tiers of government govern of same citizens, but each tier has its own jurisdiction in specific matters of legislation, executive, and as well as administration. So what is it? First, one by one I will discuss with you. Different types of government govern the same citizen. For example, our central level government rules entire Indian citizens. And come to the state level, even state also one of the part of the central government, and state government governs its own people, which is permitted, which is under the control of the particular state government, whatever it may be. Like it is our Andhra Pradesh state or Legislative Council and member of Legislative Assembly. So, of these member of Legislative Assembly people is nothing but our representative to our state assembly, like our MLAs. So, a group of people, they select one representative as a head of the state governance, what we call as Chief Minister. Chief Minister. Under the Chief Minister, he recruited some people as his cabinet ministers. Chief Minister, Cabinet Minister and a member of Legislative Assembly. So, each and every state has their own legislative power. As well as member of Legislative Council members. These people not elected directly by the people but our representatives only. Like some people elected by our governor, some people elected by our MLAs, some people elected by our government employees, teachers, and some are elected by graduates of the states. So, this is our state assembly. Governor, Vidhan Sabha and Vidhan Parishad entire we call as state assembly. This is individual legislative power of the state. And next come to the taxation. So, in this taxation system, next one, taxation. So, to run the government means to pay the salaries, to lay in roads, or to do any other activities like pensions, for whatever. We need some revenue. From where we are getting that revenue? We have power to print our own? No. So, we need to collect some taxes from the people. What kind of the taxes? Even taxes also distributed between the central level government and as well as state level government and as well as local level government. So governments also taxation distributed between the levels. So for example, regarding to the state, tax on the roads like VAT tax. Or like state regarding GST, goods and service taxes. So in this way, tax on the petrol, tax on the vehicles. So a few tax collected by state governments and utilize that entire money. Tax on the toll plazas. So regarding many taxes we are paying. So whatever the chalk piece we are using present. From chart piece to whatever the clothes we are wearing, whatever the goods we are utilizing, even provisions for each and every product we are paying tax to the state government as well as to the central government. So, in this regard, the ultimate power is only for state government and central government individually. Next, coming to the administration power. So, administration. So, just we discussed about the administrative powers of the central level as well as the state levels. So, regarding like our MLAs, our ministers. So, whatever the thing present our entire state government as well as central government combinedly work for COVID patients, how to get rid from the problem and whatever the solutions, vaccinations, whatever the funds, even just that our central government distributed 20% of the revenue to the each and every state for their administration purposes. So ruling our India. But at the same time, we need some money. So as you know that our Reserve Bank of India, our present finance minister, central finance minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, so they decided that to make some currency. So we have that power at the time of epidemics or at the time of these hard situations. We have the power to make a specific percentage of the revenue for the maintenance of the people as well as the healthcare. And so this is the second key feature of federalism. What is the one? Each and every level of government has its own jurisdiction power, and each and every one they have their individual legislative power, taxation power, and administrative powers. Now, third one. The jurisdiction powers of the respective levels or types of government are specified in Constitution. So the existence and authority of each type of the government is constitutionally guaranteed. Now, what is the third one? Each and every level of government, they have their powers, but each and every power they specified in our Indian Constitution. Earlier, I discussed about this point. The Constitution is ultimate power. There is no power to Prime Minister and there is no power to Chief Minister, whoever. But the person in that position must have to follow the Constitution of India. So in this regard, so our people's rights is guaranteed by our Constitution of India. So this is possible only a kind of federal government. Next one, fourth one. The fourth one is the fundamental provisions of the Constitution cannot be unilaterally changed by one level of government. Such changes require the consent of both the levels of government. So, in this regard, what is the fourth one? To change any power, to implement any new order or new thing, only a particular state government don't have any right to do that. So they must have to get the approval from the central government. So that is the fourth key feature of federalism. So which means each and every level they have their own powers, but they both work together unitary. That is the fourth key feature of our federalism. Next one, fifth one. Courts have the power to interpret the Constitution and the powers of the different levels of government. The highest court act as an umpire if dispute arise between different levels of government in the exercise of their respective power. Next one, fifth one. Apex Court. What is our apex court? Supreme Court of India. Supreme Court is our apex court. So Supreme Court are our judiciary power. Solve the disputes between central government versus state government, state government versus state government, state government versus citizen, citizen versus citizen. For example, regarding the powers of the state government and central government. So our Supreme Court has the right to interfere. Just been our president. This is our apex court judiciary system of India. It solves the disputes between central government versus state government. The state government have asking some powers. Central government said no. So in this regard, if the state government consult our Supreme Court, if the dispute is solved by our Supreme Court of India. At the same time, it solves the dispute between state versus state. For example, regarding water between Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, between Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, and between Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh, we have a lot of disputes with our neighboring states. That problem is also solved by our Supreme Court of India, and it can solve the disputes between state government and citizen of the nation. So in this regard, Supreme Court has the right to interfere in our governance, and it has the right to change a few things in our Indian Constitution. Next one, sixth one. Sources of revenue for each level of government are clearly specified to ensure its financial autonomy. Next one, sixth one. Okay. Sources of revenue. Just before we discussed about the revenue sources for our state government and as well as for our central government. So now the major revenue source to our government is GST, goods and service taxes. We are paying tax on every product. On something products like entertainment tax or educational tax or road tax or vehicle tax or value added tax. So these are the few examples for taxes. And like income tax is a major one. Income tax and house tax and tax on water, tax on electricity, everything, whatever the service provided by the government, we are paying some taxes. So these sources of revenue specified in our constitution. That is one more great feature of federalism. Means sources of revenue. So these taxes have to collect by the central government. These specific taxes have to collected by state government. Taxes on crude oils, taxes on diesel, petrol, whatever. So we are paying taxes a lot. For example, we are importing oil from Arab countries. So if we are importing oil at the rate of 34 rupees, just we are now paying nearly 75 rupees. What is the rest of amount? Taxes. Some taxes we have to pay for corporate oil refineries, and some we are paying to central government, some transportation purpose, and some for our state government tax. So tax is also specified in our constitution. So that is one more key feature of federalism. Next one, final one, seventh key feature of federalism. The federal system thus has dual objectives to safeguard and promote unity of the country while at the same time accommodate regional diversity. What is the next one? Safeguard and promote unity of the country. Safeguard and promote unity of the country. So all Indians, diverse people under one umbrella is nothing but our Indian democracy. Different religious people, different language people, and different community people are living in our country. So our federal government protect all the rights of all its citizens of the entire nation, not only a few. Tamilians or Malayalis in that way. Therefore, two aspects are crucial for the institutions and practice of federalism. Governments at different levels should agree to some rules of power sharing. They should also trust that each would abide by its part of the agreement. An ideal federal system has both aspects. One is mutual trust and agreement to live together. Mutual trust. So this is the crucial point in our federalism. Mutual trust and agreement to live together. So state level government or central level government, whatever, they are working under the mutual trust, as well as they are working together and living together. Now, the exact balance of power between the central and the state government varies from one federation to another. This balance depends mainly on the historical context in which the federation was formed. There are two kinds of routes through which federation have been formed. Now, types of federations. So the mainly here we observe two types of federations. So the first federation is coming together federation, and the second one is holding together. These are the two types of federations. Both are following federalism only, but they are following with two routes. One is coming together and the one is holding together. First, I am going to discuss about coming together federation. In this type of coming together federation, different countries or states coming together and form as a big unit. Form as a big unit. And the powers distributed equally between all the states. For example, United States of America. Different countries together, like Canada, Mexico, and United America, as well as Alaska. So these all countries coming together and form as a one big nation. That is what we call as United States of America. Next one, UK, United Kingdom. What is the next one? United Kingdom. A different countries formed as a big unit and as a one nation. This one also coming together federation. Next example, Australia. Even Australia also, different countries, they formed as one nation and is called as Australia. These are the best examples for coming together federation. Next one, holding together. In this holding together, different states coming together, and but entire nation's power is held by one apex level government. Is like central or union government. For example, very good example is our India. Different levels are there. All are sharing their powers, but the ultimate powers are in the hands of the central government. So we are holding together federation. In India, we are following holding together federation. Hari Om.